Welcome back to our series of 200 ultra-hard PMP practice questions. This is going to be questions 41 to 50. Let's get started. I'm Andrew Ramdial, and I am the best-selling author of the book PMP, Exam Prep Simplified, and of course, the best-selling Udemy course for this exam also. All the links are in the description below. Let's continue where we left off. Now, in this one, once again, we're going from question 41 to 50 in this set. All right, let's get started, guys. Once again, I'm going to be reading these questions and just going straight to the answer. I suggest the moment you see the question on the screen, go right ahead, pause the video, read it, and follow along with me. So here we go. All right, question 41. At the beginning of a new environmental conservation project, a key stakeholder expressed concerns over a project's approach, fearing it wouldn't meet the intended environmental goals and will exceed the initial forecast. What should the project manager do first? All right, we got this keyword there first. Organize a meeting with the stakeholder to understand the concerns and identify potential involvements. All right. Launch a pilot phase to demonstrate the project effectiveness and adjust based on early results. C. Enhance communication with the stakeholder by providing regular updates and involving them more closely in project planning process. Outline the long-term benefits and sustainability impacts of the project, emphasizing its alignment with broader environmental objectives. All right, the best answer here is going to be A. Now, we went over this a lot in the previous question, but you notice there's some kind of concern. There's some kind of a problem on this. Notice somebody's expressing concern. And anytime you as a project manager is faced with some stakeholder having some kind of issue, or they're having some kind of concern, or they don't like something, if the question says what to do first, don't take an action against it. It's to review, meet with that stakeholder, see what's going on, assess the situation. Just don't go out and take an action until you really understand what this concern is about. So that's this one. Organize a meeting with the stakeholder because you want to understand what that concern is. Now, why is the others wrong? Well, launch a pilot program without even understanding what the concern is. You're taking an action. Don't take an action without understanding the concern. You're enhancing communication. It doesn't really say there's a communication problem. The guy doesn't have a problem with communication. He has a problem with the project's approach. So that's not it. Outline the long-term benefit. I'm not sure what this is going to do. It doesn't really state that it doesn't do the long-term benefit. The problem here is the approach, not really the objectives, which is what D is. So D doesn't even address this. All right, pretty easy one. I think that one there was kind of easy. If you have the mindset down, you're starting to get it. I think this is getting a little easy for you. 42. In the midst of implementing a new healthcare IT system, a project manager faces a challenge. The initial phase, involving the upgrade of the existing software, is behind schedule, impacting the subsequent software implementation phase due to shared technical teams. What course of action should the project manager take? So in this one, you're facing a challenge. You're behind schedule, so you got some problems here. Negotiate with other project managers for temporary resource sharing to expedite the hardware upgrade. All right. Initiate an assessment to evaluate the impact of the delay of the overall project timeline. All right. Implement a reward system for the technical team to incentivize faster completion. Engage a consultant to provide expert advice on streamlining the hardware. Now, in this one here, this is also one where you have to be careful with your actions. So you notice the answer here is going to be B. You see, before you go out and you negotiate for other resources, you implement some reward system, or you do some kind of consulting, you really got to understand, well, exactly how does this really affect the project? You just can't say, well, okay, it seems like we're behind schedule, right? We're behind schedule. And it's impacting some things, but how is it affecting the budget? How is this, whatever's happening, how is it affecting the budget? In this one, we're just talking about time. So do your assessment before taking an action. 43. At the midpoint of renewable energy project, the project manager is faced with conflict between the design team and the environmental consultants regarding the feasibility of the proposed turbine placement. The design team believes the placement will optimize energy productions, while the environmental consultants warn it could lead to significant ecological disruptions. Yeah, a lot of big words in this one. What should the project manager take to resolve this conflict? Okay, so you got some issues here between two teams, right? Between the design team and the environmental consultant. So you got issues between them. What do you do? Well, proceed with the design's recommendation, okay, to maximize energy output. Organize a collaborative session to discuss the impact, find a compromise, okay. Commission an independent review of the turbine's placement. Postpone the decision on the turbine until further data. Okay, the best thing here is when you have a problem between people is to try to help them resolve it, because you don't want to choose a side. Choosing a side would be considered forcing. That means the answer here is bringing them together and have them come up with a good solution. Now, compromising is not the best solution here, but I don't want you to go out and take an action without them being involved. You notice here you did something without them being involved. Here you did something without them. You just made your own decision. The best thing to do is to work with the teams and work with the teams to come up with solutions. 44. After a new project is executed, an executive suggests incorporating new add-on to provide more function to the product. What should the project manager do? Update the product immediately to include the suggested scenario without formal approval. Note the suggestion for inclusion in a separate risk assessment document. Integrate this executive feedback into an appendix of the current report. Encourage the executive to formalize the suggestions to a change request process. Now, in this one here, you notice it says that the new project is executed. The best assumption here is to go with that this is a traditional project. And if anybody wants to put on a new add-on, which is going to be a scope change, the best thing here is to have them go through the change control process. You just can't add something to the product, which is basically a scope change, without going through that. You should never just include a scope change or an add-on to a product without a formal approval. That's not your job to approve things. Your job is to manage the team, building the deliverable, not approving or disapproving. Just don't do nothing. You note the suggestion in the risk analysis. These one here, it seems like you're putting things in a report, but you're not actually dealing with the add-on itself. 45. At the onset of an urban regeneration project, the project manager observes that although team morale is high, meetings often diverge into unrelated conversations, causing them to overrun and decisions to be postponed. What is the most effective initial action for the PM to take? Schedule shorter meeting to encourage more focused discussions. Okay. Designate a timekeeper to ensure meeting adhere to schedule times. C. Emphasize the meeting objectives and agenda at the beginning of each session. Introduce a digital platform for a team member to share non-project related discussions. Now, I wrote this question very particularly. I wrote it in a way for you to understand that it says initial action. It's like, what is the initial thing you try should never be the hardest, shouldn't take the most energy. You should try to solve problems the easiest way possible. And that's C. How about if you get in front of the meeting and you emphasize what the objectives are at the beginning of each session? This is what we got to get done, guys. If this fails, maybe then you may want to go to B. Maybe you may want to go to A and D then. But remember, the key word here is initial. You got to watch the wording of the question. The initial action is never to take a drastic action. A would literally cut the meetings down. D would make you get some kind of whole new software. B, designate anything. The initial action is just to say, hey, folks, we need to stop this. Let's see how, this is what we got to get done. Let's stick to it. 46. During a routine progress update sessions for a multinational project, a project manager notes that one of the key technical analysts, although exceptionally knowledgeable, rarely contributes to group discussions and despite engaging actively in private conversations. Okay, so we have somebody that is very smart, technical analyst, and they seem to be good in private, but they're not very good in group discussions. What should you do? Schedule a dedicated session where only the technical analyst presents their finding to the team. I'm not sure if this is going to work. Actively solicitate the analyst's input during meetings, emphasizing the importance of their expertise to the project's success. Create an anonymous feedback mechanism where the analyst can submit their insights without speaking up in meetings. Wait for the analyst to naturally become more comfortable and decide to contribute to discussions at their own pace. Okay, let's see how we can answer this. This, I believe, was a tough question. And believe me, me and the gentleman that wrote this one, I wrote this one, he got this one wrong. I thought this was a really good question because you really got to address what the question is asking. Okay, what is it we want out of this question? We want the analysts to contribute in the group discussion. That's the problem. All right, what do we do about this? Well, the best thing here is to talk to this person. You notice it seems like when people are talking to this person, they talk. But it seems like no one is talking to this person, so they're not actively engaging in these meetings. So actively solicitate the analyst's input during the meeting. Emphasize, hey, these are great things to know. Now, why isn't the other right? Well, this here takes no action. If the choice is to do nothing, in other words, leave it until the analyst feels like speaking or gets more comfortable speaking, this is not, you might be waiting forever. If the option is to do nothing, it's probably not the answer. Create anonymous feedback. Well, is that for everyone or just for the analyst? If it's just one person, it's not really, I had fun writing this one. If the analyst is the only one speaking, it's not really anonymous anymore now, is it? Schedule a dedicated session where they only presents their finding to the team. It's the same scenario. In this one here, they just take you out completely, but he's presenting to the finding to the team. It's better. The two choices were either A or B. But notice this one is presents their finding to the team. If you were saying, well, don't do B because the analyst doesn't want to talk in front of people. Well, A, he's talking in front of people except you're not there. That's how you have to read that. So tricky one there. B is the best answer. By the way, if you're enjoying this video so far and you're getting these questions right, you're learning something, can you do me a quick favor? You know what I'm going to ask you, right? Click on the like button, subscribe to the channel. It would be an enormous help for us. You guys don't understand how much this helps us out. YouTube does not, this is a quick thing. YouTube doesn't recommend our videos. YouTube will push our videos to the bottom if nobody likes it or nobody engages with the channel. So we could be making content and no one's going to watch because no one will see it. And if people stop watching our content, we'll have to stop making them. So sorry to be hard on you guys, but we got a lot of views and not a lot of likes. And they're subscribed. Sorry for that. Guys, let's go back to the questions. 47. Just before the final review of new software development project, the project manager is informed by the quality assurance team that several key features do not meet the predefined specifications agreed upon with the client. Correcting these issues will delay the project deliverables by several weeks. What should you do next? Remember the key word. Prioritize the work to meet the agreed specifications, accepting the project timeline may need to be extended. All right. Suggest a partial delivery of the project to the client with non-compliant features to be updated in future release. Propose a compromise on a specification to the client, reducing the scope to match the current state. Consult with the development team to find a faster solution that could reduce the delay while attempting to meet the specification. Now, you got to be careful with this word next. It's like, okay, you realize we're probably going to be late. We're not going to have everything. What should you do next? Like, what are you going to do right away? And the best answer here is going to be D. Meet with the team and ask them, hey, can we find a faster way? Can we get this done? Right? Notice is informed by the quality assurance team. Even if the quality assurance team tells you this, you got to go to them and you got to say to them, hey, can you do this any quicker? And is there a way to reduce this delay? And maybe then you can go back and tell the client. But the first thing you should do, not the quality assurance team calls you up and says this, and your only thing is, okay, let me go tell the client and move on. No. So consult with the team. Let's find a faster way. You cannot prioritize work like that. That's something the team or the sponsor should be doing. Suggest a partial delivery. You never want to just deliver it, especially with non-compliant features. This is something first of all, you would need your sponsor or your customers to approve that. Propose a compromise. You should never, like this, C was the throwout. I add this in here to kill this. Every time we write questions, there are always going to be a few choices called throwaways, or I call them garbage choices. In other words, you shouldn't select that. The moment it says that you reduce the scope, you don't have that power to just reduce scope. Agile and their traditional projects, the project manager doesn't have the power to just remove scope parts. That's something the sponsor or the product owner should be doing. Tough question. 48. During a critical phase of an agile development project, a specialist responsible for designing a key component is unexpectedly required to take extensive medical leave. The specialist tasks are now at risk of delay as they were the sole individual equipped with the necessary expertise. Sole individual. What proactive measure could a project manager have taken to mitigate the risk? Build a cross-functional team. Distribute the specialist task among several members from the project onsets. Okay. Establish a comprehensive documentation practice for all project tasks. Okay. Allocate additional funds to hire temporary specialists if needed. Now, notice it says here, what proactive? This is the key word. Like, what could you have done to stop this or to reduce the blow of this? All of these choices are not too bad except one of them. All right. Like allocate extra funds to hire temporary specialists. Maybe, unless you would have predicted this in the risk assessment. The best thing here, if you know Agile, you should build a team of generalizing specialists. A cross-functional team, what this does is that everybody is able to help each other. In this one, you built a specialist team. You went against the rules of Agile. You want a cross-functional team, a team where everybody is capable of helping everybody else. This reduces all kind of bottlenecks with the team. I do cover this in the course, so make sure you check out the Agile team section. Distribute this here with something that you would have probably done afterwards, but then it would have been hard to predict who's going to be in and out. Right? This is the throwaway choice here to me, because how could you have predicted this? You distribute just this guy's task. You would have to done it to everybody, not just this person. Notice the specialist tasks. You would have never noticed this because notice it's unexpectedly. Comprehensive practice for all project tasks. That would have been okay, but it's not. This is a specialist task. Only this person is capable of doing it. Although I like D, it's best to make sure that you have a good generalizing specialist cross-functional team. Okay, 2 more to go. In the planning phase of a large software implementation project, the project manager decides to conduct an extensive analysis of potential risks associated with the project's timeline and budget. The goal is to understand the likelihood of a project completion within the defined perimeters and to identify which variable most significantly impact the project outcome using many different perspectives. What technique should the project manager apply to evaluate and address the risks? Now, so you're doing a risk assessment, basically. You're looking at the likelihood of the risk. You're looking at certain perimeters from different perspectives. What technique are you doing here? Well, are you developing a risk breakdown structure? Conducting a sensitivity analysis? Utilize a cause and effect diagram? Or Monte Carlo? This is a straightforward knowledge-based question that I wrote in a very difficult way. Best answer here is going to be D. This is a Monte Carlo simulation. A Monte Carlo simulation looks at many different scenarios, perspectives, or different outcomes that can affect projects. For example, if you have this weather event, how is it going to affect this project? Like, what's going to happen if you had a Category 4 hurricane, Category 5 hurricane, a blizzard? So you're looking at all different perspectives and how it's going to affect the project, and that really is what this is describing. A cause and effect diagram will tell you the reasons for risks or the cause of failure. This is a fishbone diagram. Sensitivity analysis starts to rank them up. This looks at particular impacts of positive and negative risks. Risk breakdown structure just categorize risks. This is looking at different perspectives. Question 50. On a project to develop a new CRM system, the project manager learns that a stakeholder meeting learns during the stakeholder meeting that upcoming regulatory changes will affect data handling processes within the system. The changes are expected to be enforced shortly after the project's planned completion date. What is the most appropriate action for the project manager to ensure the projects remain compliant with the new regulation? Okay, incorporate the regulations into the project's risk log for future analysis. Plan to address the regulatory in the next CRM system development. Integrate discussion of the regulatory changes into the project phases. Request immediate detailed information change during the next product update meeting. Okay, best answer here. Now, this one was tricky because, first of all, it's not a risk. All right. Notice incorporate into the project's risk, should say risk register, but it's not a risk because this will affect the data handler. This register, if it was like it might, then you may want to add it to the risk register. But it's not a might. This is a will. This is something that will happen. It's guaranteed to happen. So it's not a risk. Risk has probability. Now, you don't want to wait for the next system to be developed, and that's D also. Immediate detailed information changes during the next product update. You got to do it right now because you're gonna be pushing this thing out, and then that regulation is gonna come in. The best thing here you can do is start incorporating that regulation into what you are doing. Okay, guys, that is the end of this set of 50 questions, 41 to 50. Hopefully you guys learned a lot. Hopefully you guys are getting that mindset. At the end of this 200, you're going to be amazing for your exam. Once again, if you enjoy what I'm doing, if you like my work, you want to check out my course, check the link below. I have my best-selling 35-hour course. That course now has over 350,000 students. You also have my study guide, the #1 Amazon best-selling PMP study guide across the world. Over 200,000 of those books have been sold to help people pass their exam. Check out all the links below. Join that if you're studying, and if you want more questions like this, get the simulator. The simulator has more questions like this, nearly 1,000 more questions like this, and 400 video explanations, about 400 video explanations of those questions. Okay, guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys in the next video. What is that, 51 to 60, and I'll see you in the next video.